Hello everyone, xForts here, and welcome to Chainsaw Man Chapter 101 review and discussion. A much different chapter this week, faster paced, and very reminiscent of early Chainsaw Man for a few reasons. So getting right into it, to start off the chapter, we first see a man on the streets warning the Japanese people of the danger of devils, telling them to wake up and smell the danger, and that he's out here to spread the truth, because, as we all know, the media is a 24/7 internet spew of trivia and celebrity bullshit! It's not entirely clear if this man is a politician and wants to change the way the world works fundamentally, or if he's just an activist. But it's interesting seeing the societal world building coming from part 2 that illustrates the shift in public perception towards devils, as the man speaks in a way as if people are being lied to, which has led people to become too comfortable with their coexistence. And this divide among people may play a larger role in the part or be a central theme, considering the relationship between humans and devils and who likes them and who doesn't has been brought up in nearly every chapter so far. So it would be interesting to see the series lean more into its Devilman roots and explore that idea of a full-on war between mankind and devils, which is possibly foreshadowed at the end of this chapter. So just a thought on the way this chapter decides to open and the focus on this guy giving his speech. But continuing on in the chapter, we meet back up with Asa and Yuko at the end of the following school day, which is the day after the events of the last chapter, and the two decide to go out on their own into town to hunt devils, and this brings us to the chapter title, After School Devil Hunters. We then cut to the two in the middle of town on a bench sharing a snack and some conversation, fueling up getting ready for their devil hunt, and you might notice there's just two of them. Yoshida's not here. So Yuko remarks that Yoshida had actually skipped school, and this makes her question if he's actually taking the devil hunting club seriously, which he's probably not, or at least it's not his biggest priority. Although his absence definitely makes me wonder what was so important to take him away from school, because we know that Yoshida is not a regular public devil hunter like Denji or Power in part 1, who would be assigned to just go clean up the streets. We'd only seen Yoshida in part 1 during these special assignments like the International Assassins arc, and we can also assume that his activity in school and joining the devil hunting club was part of one of these special assignments. So is something even more important to this that took him away from school today? So maybe he's off somewhere with Denji, or I'm reading way too much into it and he's just home with the sniffles and he's sick and he was written out of this chapter completely for convenience. So who knows what Yoshida's up to. But either way, that just means we get to spend even more quality time with Asa and Yuko as the two chit chat for a bit, and it's nice to see Asa present in the conversation and enjoying time spent with another person, not having to worry about how she's being judged or perceived, and she just feels comfortable around Yuko and even initiates conversations now. So it's really good to see Asa coming out of her shell, making a friend, although that is completely shattered later in the chapter. But for now, the two are able to bond over their shared experience of having their parents killed by devils, and Yuko yells out in excitement, "We're like manga main characters," and the two promise to become partners when they eventually become devil hunters. So some good old self-awareness on Fujimoto's part, I love that, as well as maybe also a subtle message to the readers that are expecting Denji to show up any chapter now and just completely steal the show, and then we're just following Denji's story again. So maybe this is him being like, Asa is the main character. But in typical Chainsaw Man Part 2 fashion, as soon as something happy or wholesome or good happens to Asa, Fujimoto pulls the rug out from under her and just puts her in an even worse situation and predicament, as following this sweet interaction of them being like, yeah, we're gonna become devil hunters together and be partners, Yuko goes to the restroom and we can see Asa trying to hold in a smile, like it's unnatural for her to be happy or she's still having trouble accepting friendship. Although Asa's smile quickly fades into a worried stare when War Devil appears and bluntly proposes they should kill Yuko. War Devil explains that they'll need strong weapons to fight devils, and that the more guilt you feel about creating a weapon, the more powerful it will be, which is just a wicked rule, and proposes a whole new issue for Asa and conflict between the two. Asa tries to completely dismiss this idea by changing topics, arguing about the way they refer to each other and how they don't use each other's names. This leads War Devil to actually choosing a name, being Yoru, which is kind of like a clever way of naturally flowing that into the story, which was bound to happen eventually as they've become a more established character, so now I don't have to say War Devil 50 times a video. And this chosen name Yoru also plays into the contrast between the two, as in Japanese, Yoru means night and Asa means morning, which is just some of that classic shonen hero and villain duality building, with Asa representing the beginning of a new day, a rising shining light and a hope for the future, while Yoru is the beginning of the end, the fading of light and enveloping of darkness. This naming scheme is also a pretty solid metaphor for their shared state of being, as morning and night are two sides of the same coin. When one is present, the other goes away, and they can't be in control at the same time, constantly overtaking each other. But back into the chapter, so for now, Yoro lets Asa avoid the subject of killing Yuko, thank God, but offhandedly says she'll make a better weapon after you've grown closer anyways. And although Asa is initially worried by this statement, she chooses to be ignorant to the possible reality, thinking to herself, I don't care about all that disturbing stuff, I haven't had this much fun in forever. I couldn't care less about anything else. Which is complicated, because on one hand, I'm happy for Asa as she's finally able to come out of her shell and enjoy life by having a friend she cares about, but on the other hand, Asa is being ignorant to the fact that choosing to continue to be friends with Yuko is putting a bigger target on her by Yoro, and is giving more value to Yoro wanting to turn her into a weapon. So it seems like every chapter now there's a new angle to consider or complication for Asa, as just when you think she made a friend and things are starting to turn around, Yoro drops this bomb that apparently anyone Asa gets close to will now be at risk of being turned into a weapon, and a person that Yoro would want to turn into a weapon most, because they would be the most powerful. So that really hurts, especially because in the last chapter we had just seen how awesome Yuko was and how good of a friend she is to Asa, and then in this chapter we saw how much Asa likes Yuko and likes spending time with her and how she's good for Asa's mental health. But now there's this dynamic where War Devil wants to kill Yuko, and the more time they spend together and the closer of friends they become, the more likely it is she's gonna die and be used as a powerful weapon, which is just such evil writing, Fujimoto. Like, God, Asa cannot catch a break. Even the good things that happen to her are twisted and, flipped to be like evil things and make us worry about the characters. It's like, gosh, nothing good has happened. Nothing good has happened to Asa so far. Even the things that are disguised as good things, like this friendship, are plotted and going to become evil things later on. It's just, awful. But continuing on in the chapter, as we saw during Asa's inner monologue, her and Yuko were continuing to walk through the town, and during this we cut back to the activist from the beginning of the chapter, who's continuing his speech and building a bit of a crowd, and he proclaims that devils are the leading cause of death among Japanese people, saying statistically 7 of the 20 people listening to him will be killed by devils. And while the speech continues, we jump back to Asa and Yuko's devil hunting activities, where we see an example of these abrupt devil attacks, as well as we see a very familiar looking devil eating a human, and the speech ends on the line, make no mistake, mankind is at war with the devils, which was that possible bit of foreshadowing I'd mentioned earlier in the chapter review of where Yoro may be leading the story of part 2. Of course being about the war devil, but maybe war itself as a general theme. But more importantly, this is clearly the Bat Devil, right? The Bat Devil's back, it has to be. I mean, it looks a little different from part 1, but that's probably because it was reborn, since it died in part 1, went to hell, at some point died in hell, and then was reborn back at Earth. I mean, this has to be the Bat Devil, unless there's a species similar to Bat that people would be afraid of. So Bat Devil is back, interesting, and it looks like Asa and Yuko found what they were looking for, but it's just a little bit scarier and more powerful than they expected. And this brings us to the end of the chapter, where we see the two running away in panic as Yoro realizes that she can't take control of Asa when she is stricken with fear. So it looks like we found at least one weakness for Yoro. So all Asa's got to do is just live in perpetual fear for the rest of life. She could probably contact Gobeni for that. She could probably give her some tips. And right there, the chapter ends, leaving us on a very exciting cliffhanger of the Bat Devil returning, as well as now Asa and Yuko are thrown in this situation where they don't have the help of Yoshida or War Devil, which really twists the situation, as in the past chapter reviews I was like, this assignment will be a piece of cake, easy peasy. They got Yoshida and they got War Devil, strongest devil hunters in the whole school, and now of course we're put in a situation where we don't have either of those resources. So pretty exciting the way Fujimoto wrote that, and it gives some insight on how Asa is going to be able to overcome the War Devil. So she's struck with fear, she can't overcome it. And what I really think that means is that if Asa is mentally focused on something else and is able to completely ignore War Devil has no means of taking control of her, because that's the way she does it. The way she takes control is Asa's okay, I want to go sleepy now, I want to disappear, I want to go away, and then War Devil's able to take over. So if Asa's able to work on herself and get mentally stronger, maybe she'll be able to imprison War Devil in her body and even use her powers at some point. That would be pretty cool. We're getting into the post-chapter discussion here, by the way, now that's over. Only have a few things this week. So Bat Devil, there's a few things going on here. One, I think Fujimoto might just be throwing subtlety out the window and being like, yes, Asa is a direct parallel to Denji. They have a duality. These characters had a very similar upbringing, where in the beginning, Asa was this very damaged person that then got the devil inside her. Now she has a best friend. Yuko's sort of fulfilling that power role for Denji, and now they're even fighting the same first devil of the Bat Devil. Or it could be that this could be a setup for Denji's return. I know I said in the previous chapter reviews, I don't really care when Denji comes back. I just love the Chainsaw Man world and the characters we're with right now. But I think it would be pretty clever if the Bat Devil is messing with these girls. Obviously, Yuko's not contracted with anyone. Asa has no means to protect herself unless War Devil takes over. So they're pretty much screwed in this situation unless Yoshida's watching in the background, comes in and saves the day, or Chainsaw Man is the one that comes and saves them. And I think that would be a good introduction. I don't know, just to make Denji look really cool, because in part 1, there was a big arc with the Bat Devil where he wasn't able to defeat it, and it was like, he was able to defeat it, but it was a struggle. So I think it would be cool now in part 2 if he just kills the Bat Devil in one blow, and he's like, hey, haven't I like met you before? Like, if I fought you in the past, just a nice cool introduction to Denji, so that's also possibly where this is going, but more realistically, I don't think we'll see Denji soon, so I am interested to see how Yuko and Asa are going to handle the Bat Devil. But that's going to be Chainsaw Man Chapter 101 review and discussion. To conclude, what I think was most important about this chapter, the biggest piece of information that we learned, is that the people that Asa cares about the most, and the ones she gets closest to, create the strongest weapons. That is certainly going to be a problem moving forward. But that's going to be it for now. I will see you guys in 2 weeks. We're on hiatus next week. I mentioned it in a previous chapter review that now we're in Jump Plus. It's not strictly weekly, so we're gonna have a little breaks here and there. So no chapter next Tuesday. I'll see you guys on the 16th, I believe is going to be the next time. So all right, thank you guys so much for watching. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and enjoy the rest of your day. I'm out. Peace.